The Opel Kapitän A, produced from 1964 to 1968, was part of Opel's KAD series, or CAT, which also included the Admiral, which was made before the World War II, and the Diplomat, a new model. As the entry-level model in this luxury trio, the Kapitän A combined American-inspired design with German engineering, aiming to offer a premium driving experience. The Kapitän A featured a horizontal radiator grille and a streamlined body measuring approximately 4 meters and 95 centimeters in length, which was an increase of 13 centimeters to its predecessor. The car had a width of 1.9 meters, which was an increase of 9 centimeters, making it a lot bigger at an estimated 1360 to 1600 kilograms. It basically was nothing like its predecessor, as it wasn't oriented at the late 1950s, early 1960s panoramic trends and was much bigger and boxier, also looking more American than ever. It also had less chrome than its predecessors, and because it was the entry level of KAD line, it also had less chrome compared to the KAD counterparts, giving it a more understated appearance in comparison to the Admiral and the Diplomat. In 1967, the model of the Kapitän received a few minor updates, although it wasn't considered as a facelift itself. These updates included side rub strips and repositioned badges from the rear roof posts to the front fenders. Also, the Opel logo on the front sides was removed and replaced at other parts of the car. Inside the Kapitän A was spacious, accommodating up to 6 passengers with its front bench seat, a feature that marked it as the last Opel passenger car with such seating. The dashboard was adorned with chrome accents and a horizontal speedometer, reflecting the design trend of the era, also implementing the American inspiration, as during these times the Americans would usually put the same horizontal speedometer in cars, but just in miles per hour instead of kilometers an hour. The Kapitän A was offered in several engines, making it the first Kapitän to be able to have different engines in them. The smallest engine and the engine it came with in the first place was the same engine as in the Kapitän P2. It was a 2.6 liter inline 6, although this engine wasn't available during its whole lifespan, as it was available between 1964 and 1965. It got 100 horsepower instead of the 90 horsepower in the Kapitän P2 and had 182 Nm of torque, giving the car a higher top speed than its predecessor of 158 km an hour, and the 0 to 100 time also better at around 14.4 seconds. Although it was more powerful, it didn't have a better fuel efficiency, as the estimated fuel efficiency was around 11.8 liters per 100 kilometers, which also could be thanked to the bigger dimensions and weight. For the Austrian market, although I simply couldn't find that much about it, you also had a 2.5 liter inline 6 between 1966 and 1967, and this engine had 110 horsepower, and this engine basically was available for tax reasons. This wasn't a success whatsoever, as of this version only 203 units were made. The 2.6 liter eventually succeeded by a 2.8 liter inline 6 being available for the rest of the generation's timeline, between 1965 and 1968. This engine had 125 horsepower and 206 Nm of torque, giving the car a higher and more reasonable top speed of 170 km an hour and a 0 to 100 time of, not that much better, 13.9 seconds. Because of the engine also being bigger, the fuel consumption also was higher, as the estimated fuel consumption was 12.3 liters per 100 kilometers. And as said before, this engine basically succeeded 2.6 liter due to the heavy weight of the Kapitän, basically having a 2.8 liter being a bit more suitable for the car. You also had the 2.8 liter HL in line 6, available between 1967 and 1968, with HL standing for Hoogleistung, meaning high performance. This 2.8 liter had 140 horsepower, 223 Nm of torque, and having an even higher top speed of 180 km an hour, also having a better 0 to 100 time of 11.5 seconds. Therefore also the fuel efficiency worsened a bit at 13 liters per 100 kilometers. The biggest engine you could choose for a Kapitän was the 4.6 liter V8, being available between 1965 and 1968, having 190 horsepower, 347 Nm of torque, and a top speed of 200 km an hour. The 0 to 100 time wasn't that great, although it was actually quite decent for the time at 10.8 seconds, and the fuel efficiency by Opel itself was considered at 15.3 liters per 100 kilometers, although some others stated that the fuel efficiency was so high that basically this engine caused problems because of that, being around 20 or even 22 liters per 100 kilometers. The optional 4.6 liter V8 inside the Kapitän A basically was sourced from Chevrolet, specifically the 283 cubic inches, which basically was a small block V8. A well-known engine used in multiple Chevrolets, including the Chevy Impala, Bel Air, and Corvette in the late 1950s and early 1960s. Although this engine was available for 3 years, only 113 of this V8 version were built. Transmission options included a 4-speed manual and a 2-speed Powerglide automatic. The 4.6 liter V8 was only available with the 2-speed automatic, and all the other engines were, as well as with the 4-speed manual as well as the automatic. And the automatic transmission added 1.5 seconds on top of the manual 0 to 100 times, and added around 1 liter per 100 kilometers on average. A total of 24,249 units were built from February 1964 to November 1968, of which 15,030 models with the 2.6 liter engine were built until August 1965, basically stating that only 9,000 units were made in the remaining 3 years of production. Despite its qualities, the model faced stiff competition from brands like Mercedes-Benz and struggled to maintain strong sales figures. Its larger size, while offering interior comfort, was seen as a drawback in the European market, which favored more compact vehicles. Therefore, also as said before, the Kapitän A competed with other executive cars of the time, notably the Mercedes-Benz W108 and W109, which offered similar luxury features and performance. Predecessor and successor wise, it was pretty straightforward, as the predecessor, as said before, was the Kapitän P2, built between 1959 and 1963, and this basically preceded the Kapitän A, and this featured a panoramic windshield and a more rounded design. And the successor was introduced in 1969 as the Opel Kapitän B. It was the final generation of the Kapitän series and featured a slightly shorter and narrower body. However, its limit saw success, with only 4,976 units produced before the new model was discontinued in just 11 months' time. This is a very interesting story which I will talk about very soon. Thanks for watching this video. In order to be able to upload more videos in the future, please consider becoming a member on my channel or sending a super thanks on this video. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more, and also don't forget to check out this playlist with many interesting videos covering various parts of the automotive industry, and I will see you in the next video.